Hello, Steve Arts 89. Well, I'm continuing on with my superhero movie marathon, slowly. And I just watched The Fantastic Four. Now, I saw the first film in the cinema 20 years ago, and I bought the DVD and I watched it, and then I saw the second film, which I liked, and I bought the DVD, and I was expecting a third film. We never got it. I ended up buying the Blu-rays, and I didn't get time to watch them. But I really loved these films. I really enjoyed it in the cinema. I was not surprised they did a sequel. I loved that, and I was expecting a third film. And I didn't realise that they'd actually quietly rebooted the series a few years ago. They had Michael B. Jordan and basically a younger cast. Apparently it was awful. No one liked it. Didn't do well. And I was just really surprised that they didn't just keep going with the cast that they had. I thought they did a great job of casting the characters. The actors were all known and good. The characterizations were good. They were likable. The stories were good. They were simple and easy enough, but big enough to be, comic book. And I mean, the first film, they spent a lot of time focusing on, they show the origins, how they all get their powers, and setting up the characters and Von Doom and everything. And you don't get a lot of time with them just being themselves, but that's part of an origins film. But the story worked. They had some large set pieces, some large literal sets and action scenes that they filmed. The effects I thought were really good. At the time they played perfectly. Now 20 years later you can look and go, yeah, it looks a bit CGI here and there, but we weren't thinking that back in the day 20 years ago when we saw it on the big screen. And I have no idea why people don't love these films. Now the first film of course starts off setting up the characters. We see the Fantastic Four approaching Von Doom for funding and that, and they go up in his space station, and of course the radiation comes too soon. They all get hit, and they all get these special powers, which are really well done and really well. The makeup for the Thing looks amazing. No, it doesn't look exactly like the one in the comic, but it's believable. It's not too much. God, what's the name of the guy who played Johnny? Damn, I forgot his name. Captain America. I mean, he was great. He was hot. Chris Evans, that's it. He was hot. The uniforms were hot, and I just remember thinking, I want that costume. That's great. There's just nothing about these that I thought were bad. So I can't believe they're not thought of well. Apparently from the community. Apparently the comic book community didn't like them. Now maybe they strayed further from the comics than they wanted, and they were more made, as a cinema universe for a cinema audience of people like me who hadn't read the original comics. So maybe that's the issue, because I didn't read the Fantastic Four when I was a kid. I barely knew they existed. I'd seen the Thing, and I had no idea what he was from. I think I'd seen the Flame, the Torch, sorry, Flame on. And that's about it. And I actually ended up with one of those. I actually have a Human Torch figure. I don't know where I got it from. I have a couple of Silver Surfers, and that's it. I don't have the Fantastic Four. I'm like, how do I not have them? But yeah, okay. So the second film, the first film, sorry, I should say, Von Doom ends up being the bad guy, of course, and they end up battling him in some really big scenes that were really well filmed. And eventually they sort of defeat him in a fairly simple way, but it worked. I liked it. I'm looking at everything like, why didn't people like this? And then at the end of the film, the only thing that didn't work for me was the end of the film is really great. You get Johnny riding the Four in the sky with fire and everything, and it just ends really well. And then they show Von Doom being shipped off somewhere, and I'm like, oh, okay, he's gonna be back in the next film. And now that would have been done as like a mid-credits or end-credits scene, but they put it right after the final shot. I'm like, that just undid what they just did. Aside from that, and they did the same thing in the second film. Now, the second film is a bit more fun. You spend more time with the characters just being a family. And then we have Dr. Von Doom coming back because the Silver Surfers turned up, and apparently the Earth is going to be destroyed in 7 days, and the government wants them to help them. And there's a bit of backwards and forwards with the government, and Von Doom gets invited in, of course, betrays them, and they have to defeat him again, which they do, and then they just sink him at the bottom of the ocean, and we don't see him again. But he's probably would have come back in a third film. But all the characters again were good. The actors were good. The story was good. You care about these characters. You're with them. The Silver Surfer was an interesting character. I didn't know anything about him, of course. I thought he was a good guy. I had no idea of what his character was and what his purpose was. And I really enjoyed the films. And I was really surprised they didn't do a third one. Now the films they cost around 100 million to 130 million, and they made around 300 to 300 million each. So the first film made a bit of money. The second film cost a bit more, made a bit less. So I can kind of see why they didn't do a third film, but it's just disappointing. I don't understand why people don't like these films. I can understand a few superhero films and why they have some criticism, but these ones I feel like they were just nicely perfect. Not trying too hard, not too big, not too much, not too radical, just right. And I don't get it. I don't get the negative reviews.